YouTubers and malefactors, back here at Stop Logic Motorsports, and well, after some careful reading of the CRF150R Facebook page, there seems to be one recurring theme that keeps on popping up as a request of someone to figure out how to run a fan kit on these. So, just to kind of preface, I'm going to give you the full list of parts and all the links that I had of what I ordered in the description. There are a couple of ways you can go about this. If you decide that you want to use a drill battery and a harness, you can basically clip these ends off and solder it to the harness connections, which is an option. I decided to go with the Tusk lithium-ion battery. So we'll do a little calculation here. This is 200 milliamp amp hour battery. So both of those fans that I've got, those Cooler Master fans, are 1.56 watts a piece. Basically comes out to 3.12 watts whenever you have the whole system put together. It comes out to 266 milliamps whenever you have a continuous draw. And with this system, you're not going to have continuous draw because you're going to have it thermostatically operated. But if this were to be a continuous draw on here, you would have 7 hours of life just out of this tiny little battery right here for your fan kit. And chances are, 7 hours is going to be more than you want to be in the saddle on any dirt bike. But this will address kind of the overheating issue with the bike. And since you can't fit the full-size fan at the 15-watt fan, or the full-size like Tusk fan is too big for the whole thing, those waterproof computer fans really do the trick. And they worked on the Yamaha for 6 months without any sort of issue, and I had multiple mud races, dusty conditions, power washings, etc., etc. Worked like a champ. So what we're going to do is clip these ends off of here, clip these ends off of this, and we're going to use a automotive 2-pin connector, waterproof automotive 2-pin connector, and basically splice those ends so whenever we get ready to use the system, we just connect it. And when you're not using the bike and you're charging the battery, pull it off. Bada bing, bada boom. Super easy. You can overheat them and you can melt through them fairly easily. So you kind of, it takes a little practice to use these self-solder connectors. You know, the claim is, oh, these are so much easier than a regular connector. That's maybe embellishing it a tad. So now we have these all nice and tinned together. We let it cool and boom. There's your new female side connector. Now we can use the bigger one on this side because it's a thicker gauge wire. So it's really important to remember what side's positive and negative. I mean, it kind of helps because you have the Alrighty, folks, we are back. And yeah, I know I got this bike all torn down yet again. We're going to be adding some more preloads to this bad boy and replacing the carburetor Tokyo Mods carb, but that's not what we're in here to do. No, I'm here to hit my head on this handlebar repeatedly. Well, technically no, but that's probably what's going to happen. Actually, we're going to be adding this fan kit. Alrighty, folks, well, we are continuing our little add a fan project to a CRF150R. So I have most of the stuff unearthed, and yeah, I'll be doing a review on this Tokyo Mods carb too. I am very excited about that little modification, but first things first, let's get some fans up on here. Alright, so we've already touched on all the rest of the stuff I've done as far as putting on different connectors and all of that. and how I'll adjust the charging and mounting. So pretty much we're gonna go ahead and set up our mounting tape for the little battery. So get this 3M lock. And this is actually with the same stuff I used to mount my GoPro to my chin mount. This stuff is pretty good at holding stuff together. And you just basically run it through one of these fins. And it'll, with a little bit of gumption, it'll feed through to the other side. Not a lot of room to work with on this radiator. I'll tell you what, that's why we had to go this route. The regular Tusk fan would not patently fit at all. Alright, so you've got your doohickeys. A fancy scientific term. We got the doohickeys over here. And then you basically put 2 more of those pads on there. So like if you're putting on the non-KTM fan, the universal Tusk fan, they use these same little adapters. And boom. It's all right. That's feeling relatively solid. Actually, it's feeling nice and solid. All right. It's not the straightest install, it's a little kinked, but whatever. It's gonna pull air through it. So that's the operative thing. Will this bike go thermonuclear? Alright. That's kind of what we're trying to prevent here, is the bike just burning itself up. I mean, I know this thing isn't ever going to be a hard enduro machine. That's not really my intent for this bike. But it would be nice if it did a little better. But I do honestly think that this bike has a lot of potential to be a great tight woods weapon. Or like, let's say this next race is just a torrential muddy downpour. This could be a good little mud bike. Now you guys are like, why don't you just race an adult bike? Well, I can, but I'm also really short. Like, all I needed was a riser, and this thing actually fits me very well now. So there's the brains of this outfit. So our thermal paste and our temperature probe. Well, this isn't really the brains. This is like the skin. This is more like the brain right here. So and a little dude to choppy chop. And it's just like putting on a CPU. So if you've ever put on a computer CPU, you put your thermal paste in between the CPU and the heatsink. Same idea here. Yeah, I know it's a lot of thermal paste. When you do a CPU, you gently apply your thermal paste. Alright, so we got our probe in. Thermal paste recapped. Feed our probe through the little frame dealy here. Because I will say, of all the bikes I've worked on recently, this is certainly an easy bike to route stuff on. A lot of space. I do need to re-zip tie all that stuff back together. Alrighty, so We have our temperature probe in, we got our wire ran over, we've got our fans. This is where we're at so far. So, for our next trick, we will locate the brain. And I think I can mount it right there on the frame where it's not going to interfere with anything. That's kind of the trick of the tail, is you want to locate it in a way that doesn't get crunched. Which isn't a bad set point. Honestly, 190 on a 4-stroke is pretty fair. You can set it lower. I sometimes set mine to 165 on 2 strokes. But honestly, 190 is pretty much your temperature where you start worrying about boiling things. Alright, first off, gonna run you guys up through these. Run the temperature probe. Kind of the same way, because we're gonna tie all this stuff off together. Now we're gonna pop you on the frame right there. We're gonna kind of just gather these all right now. Give them kind of an initial snugging so we can get these under control a little later. That initial snugging. Alright, so what's the next step in this menagerie of confusion? Next step is the power pack, or the wiring harness, which I thought I brought with me. Don't tell me I'm missing the power behind this. Alright, we got our battery pack, we have our temperature thingy. Yeah, here we go. So this wiring harness is actually designed to be attached to a fan, or attached directly to a battery. So you'll kind of see in this mess of cables where I'm working on this bike for a dual sport kit. It usually goes to a fan, but we don't have a fan, we're doing a total loss system. So, take our cable here and kind of unknot it, because that's already a bad start. Put it under the seat. Huh. This little plastic thing is kind of annoying. And we connect it like so. There we go. Then here in a little bit we try and do our best to locate all of this mess above the carburetor. Kind of out of the way so we don't have it finging around the carburetor. I will say I do like this keying for the idea that, or for the fact that it kind of like tucks all of the mechanical bits away in this little cover. Yeah, this little plastic guard here really doesn't allow this to sit down very well. Alrighty. And then we would attach the brain as so. I still got a little more work before we do the finished product, and I'll show you guys it working. But this is where we're at right now. I'm gonna attach the battery down in here. And with any luck, with this tape, it should be not very easily removable, but still removable. No, that's a bad spot for it. I didn't press it down that hard, so we still got a few mulligans we can take with this. You know, I should clean out that little pocket there for it. I mean, I saw that earlier and I thought to myself, man, that is a really good spot for it. It really just does perfectly fit it. Yeah, I know, not the best way to clean it. Man, it fits like a glove in that little spot, and it doesn't even interfere with the filter one little bit. And when we need to recharge battery, we just pull that up and plug it into our little thing. So boom! We'll basically just snap that together when we're a little closer to done. Now, I know you guys know how to change air filters and stuff. You wouldn't be watching my channel if like you didn't know how to do basic maintenance on your bike. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my air filter back in here, get all this put back together, fuel tank back on, all this tied off. Alright, so I'm a little terribly curious. This is also the first time fire up of this Tokyo Mods carb. And this lets you know the system's working. It's probed in at almost 70 degrees. So I'm kind of curious to see how this is all going to function. Hello. Yeah, I've kind of beaten up the side of this bike a little bit. I've had a little fun with it. All right. That's a real moment of truth, so to speak. The carb will fire up, and if the fan will work. Woo! Maybe you don't want the choke on. Ooh. Almost there. All right, 150, and boom, we got our fans on. All right, I'll set you back to 190. Yeah, the little fan's just kicking that heat off through there. Well, this is a successful endeavor. We'll see if we boil over at the race this weekend. But in the meantime, if you like the content, like and subscribe. If you don't, feel free to criticize me harshly. I also take payments and attaboys, and I'll see you guys here in a little bit.